I just want to say, if you've already done the Niche Finder course and you're still a little bit unsure, then it doesn't mean that there's anything broken or that you're confused or anything like that. I found exactly the same problem when I was trying to sort out my niche. In fact, just to prove that, I've got a document at the end that when I was deciding on passive AI, I went through all sorts of transitions in order to find the exact niche that I wanted. And it was in development way after I actually made the decision. So I made the decision and then it changed. It changed over the next sort of 4 to 5 months. So it's the fact is that you still have to make a decision. So if you're circling and saying, oh, you know, I've got 3 things that I could do, but I just don't want to commit to it because it's like set in stone. That makes total sense, because I've been there and so have a lot of my clients. So today's session is actually about getting you out of that fog and into momentum. And it's not by giving you more theory, it's by giving you clarity and permission to move forward and the tools to move forward as well. So by the end of this little mini workshop, you should know exactly what's been keeping you stuck and how to start testing your niche with the confidence that you need to move forward. So that's what we're going to cover. And I apologize if my dog is barking. She's hungry and my son is playing on his gaming console with his new girlfriend. So there's all sorts of stuff going on in the house right now. Okay, so your niche isn't a topic, it's actually a person, and this is a great way of looking at it. So too many people try and choose a niche based on a broad topic, and that could be wellness or parenting or marketing, and these are actually categories, they're not niches. So your niche is a specific person with a recurring problem, and it's someone you could help today. So if you ask yourself, who is always asking you to pick your brain, or what kind of help do people thank you for? These are the types of questions you should be asking yourself. So if you think person and problem and not passion and platform, you'll go a long way to finding your absolutely top niche. So for an example with this would be, I help freelance mums with ADHD create daily routines that actually stick. So that's the type of niche that we're trying to get at here. And also this is tip number 2, you're not marrying your niche, so don't get worried about it, because it doesn't mean that you're stuck with it forever, which is what I've just said earlier. You're actually just dating your niche. Yeah, so if you want to change direction, you absolutely can. There's nothing set in stone, there's no ring on your niche's finger to say that you have to stick with it, you know, till death do you part. This is just we're just playing a game here, trying to find out whether your niche that you've chosen is right for you, and you can't make that decision until you actually make a choice. So there's also a thing called imposter syndrome, and believe it or not, it actually helps. So if your niche idea feels too obvious or too personal, it's probably exactly where you should be looking, because you need to ask yourself, what have I overcome that others are still struggling with? So if it seems too obvious, it's a sign of expertise and not irrelevance. Yeah. So imagine a woman who struggled with binge eating and now teaches women to heal their relationship with food. So she's used her own transformation to build her offer. And if you've got imposter syndrome around that, because you think, you know, what makes me so special? Believe it or not, it is special, and people want to know what you've been through and they want to share it. So especially if you're talking to your niche, people want your title. They want a result. So don't label yourself as a coach or a strategist. Describe the outcome that you actually create. So, for example, if you ask yourself, I help person solve pain without frustration, then you need to fill in that sentence, because you'll pretty much nail it if you can fill in those three things. So pain gets attention and outcome creates urgency. And labels, if you label yourself, that just confuses people. So I'll give you an example. So that might transition to, I help stressed out service providers build a 4-day work week without losing income. Yeah, so you've got person, pain, frustration. All right. I'm just trying to click the next slide. Okay, so transformations sell, topics don't. So no one pays for vague improvement. Yeah, so what they want to do is they want to go from stuck to free, and from broke to booked, and from unsure to completely unstoppable. So you need to ask yourself, what is my client, what is my client's clear before and after? Yeah, so that picture actually shows that chap there. His before is obviously work overwhelm, too much admin on his plate, too much work to do, sitting alone and cold in his office, when really what he wants to be doing is spending time on the beach with a bearded lady, by the looks of things. That's just AI for you. It definitely looks like she's got a beard, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, so you need to ask yourself, what is your client's before and after? So the tip here is to sell the shift and not the actual skill that you have. So you might have a skill around something. So you might be a very, you've got a skill that you're saying, look, I'm really good at this, but people aren't really interested in that. What they want to know is, how can it shift them? How can that skill that you have in your head shift them from the pain that they're in right now to where they know in their emotions and their heart that they actually want to be? So you're selling the shift, not the skill. So an example of that would be, so a before might be an overwhelmed new coach. Yeah. And then after you've actually helped the coach do his coaching, they could be a confident coach with a premium offer and high ticket paying clients. Yeah, so you're a coach's coach. So basically you're not lacking options, but you're avoiding action. So we tell ourselves we need more clarity, but what we actually need is courage. So, and I know this is a really tough one to face, because I've been there, and so have some of my clients. But ask yourself, I mean, I've put pounds in here, but ask yourself this question: if I had to earn £500 or dollars in 7 days, what would I sell? Or if I had to earn $500 to $1,000 in 7 days, or $2,000, what is it that I would sell? And most people don't take action, because action then creates feedback, and that feedback makes you feel vulnerable. And that's that thing that we need courage around, because that's that fear of vulnerability that just says, do you know what, I'm comfortable just doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to push my boundaries of my niche any more than I need to. I'm fine right here. And that's not clarity. That's safety in staying doing something that you've always done is going to give you the rewards that you've always going to get, and that's probably not very far. So I'll say that again. Most people don't take action because action creates feedback, and feedback feels vulnerable. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Is one creator I actually follow on TikTok, and her name is Digital Laura. She's actually got a school, but I follow her on TikTok. Now she's making, or she was making, I think she's probably doubled it now, but she's making over $100,000 a month with her evergreen course, teaching people, mainly women, to be honest, I think that's her target market, how to passively look after social media accounts for repeat income clients. And what she does is she trains people on how to go and pass that work that they then get onto Upwork and Fiverr. So in actual fact, they're not even doing the work. So they're getting the clients and billing the clients and managing the clients. They're only working, like, I think they're working about 10 hours a month. And then what they're doing is passing out that work to, people on Fiverr that know how to do Facebook Meta ads and Google ads and all of this stuff. And she's teaching them how to set that up. And she literally started less than a year ago, and she's now earning over 100 grand a month. And she works less than 10 hours a month. Okay. And she's just started her school. It's not actually doing that. Her school is doing something else. But what I'm trying to say is, if you know how to, and what she's actually doing, and this is the interesting thing, is she's teaching them how to do this all through prompting. And ChatGPT is her go-to. And she's teaching them how to do all of this with ChatGPT prompts. So she was a little ahead of her time, like a lot of us here that are doing AI automations and, looking into AI to help them in their business. You're actually in the top 1%. So you need to give yourself a massive, huge pat on the back. But that's what her hook is. So she's using AI to get these people to manage social media clients. All right. So, yeah, and that's all it is. And I think her course, I haven't actually done her course, but I think her course is very quick to do. You could probably do it in less than 7 days. But yeah, so that's what I mean by that. Now, the next tip that is also covered in your freebie that I give out is evergreen niches are built on patterns. So what I mean by that is the thing you help people with again and again, that's not an accident, that's actually data. So ask yourself, what problem have I helped at least 3 people solve, in your past or your present or in your business or at home or with your family or with your friends? What problem have I helped at least 3 people solve? And basically, repetition is a sign, it's a signal, it's not a coincidence. So, for example, if you've helped multiple people build their first website, then that's a profitable pattern worth exploring. And the reason why I use that example is because when I first got into the web and all things the web, it was about 1995. So it's quite a while ago. And I taught myself with a massive computer that could hardly fit on my desk with dial-up how to use a computer. And once I'd mastered that, I then went, I need to do HTML because people are starting to get websites here, even though nobody knew what a website was. It's a bit like AI now. Nobody knows what AI is, or hardly anybody does. They think it's some robot that's about to take over the world. But what I'm saying is, I saw that opportunity, and I went and taught myself how to use computers, and I went and taught myself how to do coding. And it was very, very crude. It was so crude. The websites that I was building were, something that my dog could probably do now. But it was very crude. And I remember walking into an industrial estate, and I was basically just knocking on industry doors, and I was going, I've come to talk to you about a website. And they said, what's a website? And when I explained what it was, nobody said no. Every single person said yes. And I walked away and went off and built websites for them. And but after I'd built 3 websites for people that I'd asked if they wanted a website, I went, hang on a minute, this is a business. And I started my first business, which was Greener Design, and that business is 30 years old. And I actually still build websites for people. I'd farm most of it out, but I still talk to clients about that, and I look after their websites and their social media and stuff like that. So that's my other hat. So that's what I'm saying. So if you've helped at least 3 people with a problem and solved it for them, look at that repetition, because it is a sign and not a coincidence. Okay, so where are we? Right. Okay, so this is the moment that we shift from thinking into actual action. So this is your moment to draw a line in the sand. And it's only for 30 days. So 30 days is not forever, but just 30 days, I'm asking you to commit to one idea and one niche, and then test it and talk about it and get curious and watch what happens. So your starting point is today. The day is the 6th of May. And if you're watching this in a later recording, then look at your clock and make a note of it, because 30 days from that point, after you've committed to that one idea, and if you've not done the Niche Finder course, then you need to go and do that first, because that will give you probably a choice of the top 2 niches, and then go from there. So commit to that one idea and test it and talk about it and get curious, and then watch what happens to your mind, really, because it will, unless you actually start working on it, you just won't see the stuff that's out there. So 100% commitment. Don't just dip your toe in. If you're testing, then test. Don't start building and then vanish for 2 weeks. Show up and treat it like it actually matters, because it really does. So say, yep, this is my business for 30 days. So the only way to build real clarity is actually by taking real action. So this might not be your forever niche. I know I've done exactly the same thing, but it is your starting point. So it's your move next. And I'm going to show you in a minute what I mean by the fact that it might not be the niche that you're thinking, the thing that you actually end up with. So I'll show you that document in a minute. So let's write it down. You can share it in the chat if you want to. What your niche is. Doesn't have to be long-winded, but it's really just for you to commit in your head. And then screenshot the slide, this slide here, screenshot it and add your niche in bold text over the top of the image, and then post it in the community, because that's real commitment. And it's also a reminder to say, right, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm just going to show you, let me just bring up this document here. All right, hold on a sec, because I just need to, right, so hopefully you can see that. Let me just check that you can. Right, you can, good. Okay, so this document here is about 2 years old, and it was, I mean, my company was saying, Greener Design. It still is. I still have that company. Because I didn't have passive AI at that point in time. Passive AI came later. So this was me narrowing down my niche, and I had 7 possible things that I wanted to do. And I knew passive income was a big thing, and I knew working from home was a big thing, and online business, and something called business in a box, which is like a SaaS piece of software that I was going to invent, and also a digital marketing agency. I thought, shall I start a digital marketing? Because that's my background, is digital marketing. I thought, shall I actually, bite the bullet and go all out and create a marketing agency? And then I thought, or shall I be an online learning tutor, which is weird. And then I knew I wanted to get into AI. So I put all of those things down in that and this is actually very similar to the sheet that you're actually working from, but I had another piece of software that did all this. And it was fortuitous of me at the time to actually go, somebody might want to see this later. So I actually created this document 2 years ago. And then I asked myself, what are the things that are important to me? So, and then I gave them marks out of 100 as to what each one of those were. So very similar to the spreadsheet that you did in the Niche Finder course. All right. And then, so this is the spreadsheet. So this is what my spreadsheet looked like at the time, and the results that the marks that I gave all of those things. So, the travel opportunities was really important to me. The fact that I would be helping others, the sexiness of the brand, because I'm into brand identity, that was an important thing, whether I could actually brand it. And then these were my results. So you can see the digital marketing agency went way out of the window, because that's just not evergreen at all. And the thoughts of me sitting in an office with a load of staff was a nightmare. So that was the lowest one. And then so all the ones in the 80s, if you join all of those things together, you've actually got passive AI. And that's what made me start thinking about how I could create a passive income business using AI, which is all about online business and working from home. So you can see I took all of those things. I mean, I didn't see it at the time. It wasn't until I actually started working that niche that it all dropped into place a bit later on, when I started crunching some more numbers. So that's what I mean about, committing and moving forward, because it's not set in stone. So I will send you the 7 truths that we've just uncovered. Do you have a microphone that was very clear? And I picked my niche also. Thanks. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Thanks. Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to, I will send you the niche clarity cheat sheet, as I promised, which includes the 7 truths that we've just talked about in this presentation. And also in there are some very handy prompts that you can use with your favorite AI that will help you get a little bit more clarity around those specific points. So I will send that over to you in your DM inside the community. All right, so just to finish off, I just wanted to say that clarity isn't something that you sit and you wait for. It's actually something that you claim. So it's action making you actually go out there and claim it. And the difference between stuck and successful is one tested offer. So once you have nailed your niche, move on to the core offer course, which some of you already have, which is the next module in the classroom, because that is going to clear up everything exponentially, and it will really, it will put you in a place that is way over and above anyone else in your niche, anyone else that you consider your competition, and that's because they're just not doing any of this. Okay, so I just want to say thank you very much for listening to me, and hopefully we'll have some more people in the mix in a couple of weeks. And also to let you know, I will be doing a live session on the core offer on the weeks that I'm not doing the niche confidence workshop. So as I say, this recording will go in the classroom, and with 3 minutes to spare, I will say goodbye, and yeah, thanks for listening. Bye now.